Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the 8-Bit Adventures podcast. We're here to bring you the latest and greatest gaming news of the week. This is episode 345, and I am your host, Sean Hayes. And, whoo boy, it's been a week or 2 weeks even. So sorry for no show last week. It was the kids just did not get settled down in bed in time for me to be able to do a show. And that happens sometimes. And there's not much I can do about it. Because at that it was they finally settled down around 9:30, which is normally when the show is supposed to go live. And so after that, then it becomes a case of trying to decide, making the call at that point, like, am I in the space to do a show? And I was not. So, and then a friend and occasional contributor to the podcast is in some big trouble. I would rather not get into the details of it. But it's bad. And so that has kind of put a damper on everything. So we're kind of waiting to see just how bad the situation is. But yeah, I don't know if that will impact the show or any further streaming or anything like that going forward. So just a heads up on that. Otherwise, I've been playing Midnight. So I've been playing through Midnight. Looks like Beast Mastery is getting a buff, which will feel good. It feels bad right now. It feels super bad. But you know, I think the only time I've tried out other hunter specs has been like for the mage tower, or to just try it, like when they switched survival to a melee spec. It was like, well, you know, I'll switch this. I think it was in Legion to just do artifact stuff, but I didn't stick with it. It's I am ride or die for Beast Mastery, and I think I was thinking a lot of like the Macho Man quote of just my experiences of playing with Beast Mastery, and it's like I have 100% fits of like soaring with the eagles and slithering with the snakes and everywhere in between. And that certainly is my experience with Beast Mastery in World of Warcraft. For, you know, I don't want to admit how long I've been playing. But for like the past 19 years. So yeah. There's been highs and there's been lows. And it feels like with Beastmasters there's a lot more lows than there are highs. Since, you know, there's always like the ebb and flow of like deciding, oh, we're gonna go back to Beast Mastery being like the baby spec for, you know, new players to play. So like we don't want to make it too powerful, because we want to reward you know, skill in the game for learning rotations and stuff. And like we you know, we don't want to make it too complicated because it's supposed to be the easy one, but that means we also can't make it good. To, you know, they go through periods of that, and then they realize like, oh, but we should probably still make it good, otherwise nobody will allow Beastmasters to do anything. And so they buff it a bit, and sometimes like they kind of done a goof on it, and then it becomes really good. I will say, I don't know if we've ever achieved heights greater than the launch of Wrath of the Lich King, when Beast Mastery was absolutely unstoppable. Um, and I do miss those days. Uh, oh, when we were able to do some really, really wild stuff. That was with like pet talents. Like right now, it's you pick like a spec for your pet, but they don't get any talents. There were actual talent trees for your pet. And that was great. It essentially allowed you to, put points into different like passives. And that was where you got things like Roar of Sacrifice and um, Survival of the Fittest and things like that. So yeah, but I've been doing that and then starting to level one of my alts and doing housing stuff. Finishing up a commission for a friend of mine. So I have like the last little bit left, like the home stretch, and it feels really good to be in that space. So anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. Because we have 4 pieces of big news. And then, as I promised, last episode is we're going to talk about Pokemon Pokopia. Because I have been playing it with my oldest son, who's in kindergarten. And that is definitely a trip. So, without further ado, we're going to get into this week's headlines. And what a better way to start it off than with Crimson Desert. So Pearl Abyss has launched its open world action RPG spin-off of Black Desert Online. And boy, oh boy, is the critical reviews are mid and mixed. Seems like it's just a very, very ambitious project that the studio did not have the discipline to know what to cut, and also ended up just being god awfully janky. Like I don't know if it's on the level of Bethesda bad in terms of like bugs and jank, but from what I hear, it's pretty close. And just a lot of the design decisions are questionable. So, again, action world RPG, but it's done as kind of like a single player MMO. So, it's so weird. And the combat system's built like a fighting game. So you're having to do like memorizing button combinations to pull off your like special moves and stuff. But just again, design decisions. It seems like the boss fights are made like artificially difficult. So like you'll get countered with like an unblockable attack and then one shot and then have to redo the fight. And I don't know. Like I don't know if it's trying to be like Dark Souls and Elden Ring in that regard, which like is fine, but you kind of have to you have to build your game around that. And you can't do it as a fighting game. So I and it was I was granted I was reading IGN's review, so maybe it was just a bad review, but like it was talking about some stuff like there's no point in making the vast majority of the food to recover HP because like soup I guess is the best food in the game. So like there's no point in making any of the other ones because it just ends up being a waste. So yeah, it's wild. Or like having to cheese some sort of like climbing objective, and that turns out that is the way that you're supposed to do it, but it doesn't feel like that's the way you're supposed to do it. So yeah, that like the world itself is the best part, and like it's a visually very impressive game, but it's like the writing's bad. A lot of the puzzles are bad. Um, I have the review up right now, and they're saying like lots of multi-phase enemies, and they do mention Souls like, yeah. So it feels weird to have that kind of combat with like coupled with a fighting game type thing. I mean, I guess Monster Hunter kind of does that. And like it kind of a little bit. I mean, you have to do specific sequences and everything, but I mean, it does feel like that Monster Hunter is often just like pushing the attack button uh in different rhythms. And then maybe like pushing like a combination of two other buttons to do some sort of special ability. But also you don't, I mean, there's not a lot that one shots you in Monster Hunter until you get up to like super high ranks. But it says like in one of the earliest examples, you carve your way through scores of bandits with ease before concluding with a super long 3-phase boss fight that includes some segments where you're just mercilessly swarmed while you have to dash around destroying totems. The only reasonable way to get through it is a ton of healing items. Yeah. Yeah, that feels bad. Yeah, combat's uneven. Ill-advised stealth sections. Oh, and then like the control scheme is just bad. Like having to repeatedly tap the A button to dash. That's such a weird thing. And like clicking the left stick versus holding the left stick down does different things. Neither of which are sprinting. Yeah. So anyway, I mean it's out. If you liked Black Desert Online, you might want to give this a shot. Apparently, one thing that's going for is it's incredibly optimized, so that I guess you can still run it pretty well on like a lower powered machine. Which I will say, I will always give props to people for doing good optimization like that. And this sounds like it sounds like a lot of the issues are more conceptual, like conceptions of design, that aren't necessarily technical problems. But it's just like, yeah, from a top level design perspective of, hey, maybe we should have thought about this in a different way. But yeah, I mean, it's out now. IGN gave it a 6 out of 10, which I will say, take that, I mean, if you enjoy it, go ahead and enjoy it. And I will, like, sort of in Crimson Desert's defense, is IGN also gave Heroes of the Storm a 6.5 out of 10. But but yeah, it's just a lot of that stuff just sounds like it was things like to cross a bridge you have to fight through like waves upon waves of guards, to the point that it becomes like a Dynasty Warriors type thing, and it's like I don't mind doing that in Warcraft if like it's gonna be quick. Because like I definitely don't, and Warcraft's not even like an action RPG, right? but it is an MMO. Um, I think if we're going to do like the like solo MMO type game, is if we look at Xenoblade, fighting waves after waves after waves of enemies is kind of not fun in Xenoblade. Xenoblade is at its best when you're just going completely off the rails with some kind of build and do like if it's X, you're doing like some kind of off the rails over maximum overdrive build, or like if you're using skells, you're doing I don't know, whatever the infinite overdrive thing is. For like refueling your over and like going into cockpit mode repeatedly, just things like that. Like it's at its most fun when you're doing something completely over the top, and figuring out the game's mechanics. Whereas this sounds like it's really just rewarding. I don't know. If it feels like if the effort to reward isn't there. So, but if anyone has played Crimson Desert and you want to chime in, you know, I'm happy to hear another perspective on it. So now, in case that wasn't controversial enough, next up is NVIDIA has unveiled its latest AI-based technology, DLSS 5, and everyone hates it. NVIDIA is the only one that doesn't seem to hate it. Yeah, so they've shown like a bunch of comparison videos. Game developers don't like it. It seems like it showcase like it like re-renders everything and kind of throws your art direction out the window because it's applying like its own filters on everything, and it's making whatever it is give that very this was made by generative AI look. Everything looks kind of like plasticky, and like the characters tend to have like the lighting on the characters is not consistent with the lighting in the environment, and the lighting on the characters is much more contrasting. And it's very off-putting. And so the funny thing is, like, it was talked about for doing environmental lighting, and it doesn't do that great. It's not great at doing that. So gaming community isn't happy with the results, so they don't like it. Developers aren't happy with it because it's messing with their, art direction. And then the NVIDIA CEO came out and was like, well, you're just wrong. So that's, totally reading the room there. So thankfully I'm still using a 1080. I don't have a modern graphics card, so I don't have to worry about this. For me personally, but I hate this. I don't like it. Seeing the results, I don't like the results. And I don't know. I don't know. I wish like something would happen that just causes this market to crash. But so that, we can stop pursuing this kind of nonsense. So yeah. So if you've seen any recent memes about DLSS 5, that is what this is based on. So yeah. I'm not happy about it either. All right. Now, as a palate cleanser, our next topic is Minecraft Dungeons 2 was announced. That Mojang has announced that it's in development with plans to launch this fall. And it will launch on all platforms. So that's great. No specific release date given. And there wasn't any footage. But this is exciting. I never played Minecraft Dungeons 1, surprisingly, because like it'd be right up my alley. I do like Diablo-esque games. And Minecraft has like a specific charm to it with its dungeoneering. So it might be a thing where we might pick this up if it continues the trend, because I guess like it sold 25 million copies, the original one, and that's really good, folks. So yeah, looking forward to that. And then final bit of good news. Bloomberg reports that the Delaware Court of Chancery has ordered Krafton to reinstate former Unknown World CEO Ted Gill, to return control of the early access release of Subnautica 2, and extended the period for which Unknown Worlds is eligible for its $250 million bonus. This whole scenario, like I've talked about all the stuff leading up to this. The court case itself, it's unhinged, folks. It came out in the write-up, in the trial, that Krafton's CEO, against the advisement and wishes of Krafton's legal team, used ChatGPT to develop the strategy for this hostile takeover of Unknown Worlds, and basically like how to make public think that we did this, like did this better. It's wild. Like up through like release a statement just completely out of the blue to gain the public's favor. Remove CEOs and undermine talent. And it was basically like, how do I avoid paying out $250 million? Which is what this is about. Like, they were willing to tank Subnautica 2 to avoid paying the $250 million to Unknown Worlds. And they were doing everything like that ChatGPT, and I'm trying to keep this in my usual, or in my typical age rating. I have no love for ChatGPT. I have no love for Midjourney. I have no love for any of these generative AI services. So when someone who is in charge of I assume, multi-billion-dollar international company puts together a strategy that has serious legal consequences from ChatGPT, and then commits several illegal actions because of it, further instills the belief that why do we pay CEOs as much as they do? So yeah. And then and then unknown and then Krafton seemingly released like some sort of early access date that was incorrect, and then had like another run in with the court because of that. So it's like, guys, put down the shovel. Like, you are getting buried. You don't need to help. You don't need to help them. So yeah, so first off, I am overjoyed for Unknown Worlds. Because this is great. I mean, this is an indie developer that managed to negotiate a really good contract for its studio and its team. And then absolutely got railroaded and was subjected to like some nasty illegal behavior in an attempt to avoid paying its workers. So also, for shame, Krafton, and man, I hope they take you to the cleaners. I hope that it's a huge judgment against you. Which like it already is, like having to reinstate the CEO, who is now has every reason to be incredibly hostile to your company. Go get him. Get him. Because yeah, related to the tangentially related, but I didn't include it in the list or whatever. It's like Crystal Dynamics had a round of layoffs, and like Ubisoft had layoff. There, like bunch of studios had like pretty major layoffs, and so it's like, you know what, let's start pushing back on publishers. And honestly, I would absolutely love to see something against Microsoft, given the whole like buying Activision and then massive layoffs across Activision Studios, like after that purchase, which they specifically said they weren't going to do. Especially with the state of how things are in the World of Warcraft, is so many bugs. But anyway, that's it was related, but a tangent. I'm not going to get into it because it's time to talk about Pokemon Pokopia. All right, so I'm gonna try to keep this brief for review, since we already hit the half-hour mark. I was planning on having like 10 minutes or 20 minutes for this, but I will disclaimer for this game, or this review rather. I am only in the second area. I guess there are like 5 or 6 areas. I have only gotten as far as Rocky Ridge. This is not very far into the game, but I have a lot done. There's so much done in Withered Wasteland. But also, it was so when I first started playing, my focus was to try and finish the story, because I thought you had to finish the story in order to unlock Pallet Town, which is an area that you can do game share in, so to do multiplayer play. I thought it was required to finish the story to do that. Turns out it's not. So if, for those of you out there who have not picked up this game, you only have to do the first area. And I don't even think you need to fully complete the first area in order to unlock Pallet Town. You have to get to a point where you get to like the cave in Withered Wasteland, and then it's past the cave, you go like over a dock, like you have to build like a bridge to get there, and then you can go to Pallet Town. So it's maybe like 2 hours. You don't have to finish the story to be able to do like multiplayer with your friends. So that is why I have not progressed very far, is because my kindergartner and I have been playing around in Pallet Town, which does not impact the story at all. But man, it's a lot of fun. If you liked Animal Crossing New Horizons, this has like all of the same DNA as that, except no Tom Nook. So if you're one of those weird people that loves Animal Crossing and hates Tom Nook, this game's for you. And then bonus points if you love Pokemon. So yeah, it's got crafting. Unlike Animal Crossing, you are able to do terraforming very early on. So it's also got a little bit of like a Minecraft feel to it, in that instead of unlocking tools, you unlock special moves from Pokemon. And so, you learn leafage to grow tall grass. You learn water gun to be able to hydrate and water like plants and soil and stuff. You learn cut to cut wood and grass. You eventually get strength. You get rock smash. So rock smash allows you to bust up. It allows you to do the Minecraft thing of punching rocks and breaking them up. And then you get some other special moves. But that's kind of the idea. Is at the core of the idea, is that you're unlocking moves like this in order to then carry out tasks. To basically, you build little houses for Pokemon for them to move back in. And like you'll get objectives from the Pokemon, but it's more like requests from like an Animal Crossing villager. It's just that you get a guidebook to tell you so that you can remember what they are. I mean, the story is very much of just like restoring Pokemon centers, and then like going to other areas and restoring their Pokemon center. And it's just meeting Pokemon. It's like trying to figure out what habitats will attract certain Pokemon, building those habitats, getting those Pokemon, meeting them, making them happy, and that's it. That's the game. So it's not like gameplay wise, it's not very complex, but it's very satisfying if you are a big fan of these Animal Crossing type of sim games. Crafting is a very big part of it. So gathering materials and then crafting stuff with it. A lot of the things you can craft potentially end up being used to create habitats for other Pokemon. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, it's so much fun, and it's very charming. And I'm still, again, because I haven't finished the story, I can't speak to the story so far, but it seems to be post-apocalyptic. Like the first area, it's all dried out, and like you have to rehydrate it. And then the second area looks like there was some sort of volcanic eruption because there's just volcanic ash everywhere. So I don't know. And there's like diary entries everywhere of like from humans who talked about having to evacuate and like leaving their Pokemon behind. So I'm I'm not ready for what this story is going to be. I'm just trying to focus on like just making little habitats for everybody. And then eventually you can build like full on houses and have Pokemon live with each other. So that'll be interesting of trying to figure out who makes good roommates with each other. Yeah. Um, so I think that might be it for the review so far. Again, I'm doing a tall, not wide strategy of like I've gone really deep on Withered Wastelands, which is area 1. Um, because I was just very efficient in my habitat design. So, uh, yeah, it's like the equivalent of building like a high rise apartment, and they're just shoving a lot of people in there, as opposed to like a sprawling metropolis where like everybody, or like sprawling suburbia where everybody has like a bigger plot and they're all spread out. No, no, we no, they're all crammed in there. Excuse me. And just the ways in which you interact with the Pokemon is really great. So it's like uh there are a bunch of Pokemon that can perform different services. So like, and they all have like their own different little special skills. So like some Pokemon can help you search for treasure. Some Pokemon can help you chop wood and help you turn logs into lumber. Um Pokemon like Charmander, you can bring them around with you to light torches and campfires and stuff. Um, Water type Pokemon, if you put out like a big water barrel, they can, or like a tub of water, they will use that and they can go around and water things for you. Um, Flying type Pokemon can bring you to Dream Islands, which I haven't done yet. I need to do because there's an event going. There's already an event going on, to go visit Dream Islands. So, um, so yeah, and then there's ones that can build. So you have to use them when building buildings. They act as like foremen to direct the other Pokemon. Um, so it's a lot of fun. It's kind of utilizing like the HM system and the TM system to really lean into like what are each Pokemon good at. Uh, and I'm looking forward to playing a lot more of it. Um, and like the fact that it has game share. If you're just doing so, you can only do Pallet Town with game share, but like Pallet Town allows you to have multiple players and they can all terraform the environment, and that's like something that usually like that didn't happen with Animal Crossing. Um, so it's nice to have that. Game share can be used with a Nintendo Switch. You don't have to have a second Switch too. And that is awesome. That's so great. Because it means that my kid can play with me. Um so yeah. This is great. And it's Koei Tecmo. So nice job. Well done, guys. uh so yeah, I don't know. If we get pretty further in, I may do a follow-up on this, on like the story and everything. But so far, um man, I'm just like just going in, like setting up a few habitats, doing a couple requests, and calling it a day. Like that's great. And unlike Animal Crossing, it doesn't have like a 24-hour day night cycle type thing. And I don't think it tracks time when you're away from it. So it's not like you come back and like weeds have overgrown and all your residents are like, "Where did you go?" Like it doesn't guilt trip you into not playing, or it doesn't guilt trip you for not playing. So I know that was a thing that several of my friends had a problem with Animal Crossing about. Uh, so yeah, all in all, this is a great game. I would highly recommend picking it up. Um, don't worry about getting it physical because it's a key card. Because I know there's been a lot of like shortages for the physical version. So don't worry about, because it's a key card. It's like that weird, not quite physical, not quite digital. So I tried looking around for it, couldn't find it anywhere on launch day because once again I forgot to pre-order it. Um, So I just figured I'll get it on digital and not care. So yeah, great game. I think everyone should pick it up. It's fantastic. Unless you don't like sim games, in which whatever. So that is going to conclude our episode for this week. Thank you all for joining me. I know it was a little bit longer than usual. Got sidetracked a little bit talking about the news. But if you want to view more content from 8-Bit Adventures, you can check out our website at 8bitadventures.com. And if you want to help support this content, you can become a patron over at patreon.com/8bitadventures. Big shout out and thank you to all my current patrons. Thank you for your continued support. And finally, our opening theme is One Up by Professor Shy Guy. You can find his work over at professorshyguy.bandcamp.com. And now that we've gotten that out of the way, it is time for us to bid you adieu. Adieu. So, as always, folks, have fun, happy gaming, and enjoy your pie cake.